What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another State of Affairs video on the King Crusoe YouTube channel. This month, we're actually not just covering April, we are covering both April and May, and I'll explain a little bit more of that in just a second. The next couple months are going to be insane. But first off, I just want to say I changed a little bit of things about the setup. You'll notice the angle is a little bit different. You can't see as much on that side of the room. You can see a little bit more on this side, and over the last few videos and most of the videos over the next couple months, the setup of the room had that bookshelf back there closer this direction, and those bears were kind of on the other side of the bookshelf, and some people were commenting about those, wondering why they disappeared from the videos in the middle of February or March or something like that. So I decided to change that up a little bit so the bears are visible again. And on top of that, I also changed the way my lighting setup is around here a little bit. Originally, I had this one studio light over here, and I used the ring light, and the ring light in my glasses has always been a huge problem in these videos. And I hope they haven't been like huge detractors for anybody who's been watching. I have improved that now. I now have the studio light up there. I don't have the ring light on at all. I've filled out the lighting a little bit so that it's not quite as bad. So you'll still see it a little bit when I look a little bit upwards, but for the most part, I'm not going to have any major lighting problems in my glasses. And I've turned the light on the screen on my laptop down as well, so that that's not appearing on my glasses as well, because that was a problem in a couple random videos here and there. So, aside from a little bit of the room and setup change and the lighting changes and stuff like that, there's a little bit to talk about in this video, obviously because we're covering a couple months, so I don't want this intro to be too much longer because I just want to get into the meat of what's going on. My work schedule for basically the entire month of April through the first week of May or something like that, I actually am going to be working 70+ hour weeks, so today's the 1st of April when this video comes out, so this schedule started either last night as of the time of this video's release, or tonight, where I'm working 12-hour night shifts 6 or 7 nights a week. It's not fun. I did this last year, so I know kind of what to expect this time around, but definitely going to take a lot out of me. That's why I've been recording so many videos ahead of time the last couple months, and why the release schedule especially is going to be changing a little bit. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the things that happened last month in March. A couple seasonal podcast episodes released as normal. The first one that released was the Spider-Man No Way Home discussion that Lena and I had. It was just kind of a bonus episode to the MCU review because we just wanted to get a video out and talk about it without having to wait, however long it takes us to go through the entire MCU in order. And then the other episode was part 1 of our top 10 video games of all time, where we kind of talked about those. And even now, as I'm thinking about this, that video is going to need to be updated soon. So here, probably in a year or two, we might do another version of that where we change a little bit of the list, or at least where I change it. Maybe I'll write a blog post about it sometime, but well, that's neither here nor there. Also, as normal, 4 book binge episodes came out, 1 video on each Monday of March. The first one was my February reading wrap-up and March TBR video. The next one was a full series ranking and review of The Lord of the Rings. I had a lot of fun with that episode. Then I did a Salem's Lot review and a Gunslinger review, so both of those were Stephen King books. You're going to see a little bit more of Stephen King in May, I believe, is when my review for Drawing of the Three comes out. As of the time of recording this, I'm actually starting The Wastelands tonight, and I'm obviously excited to just get into more of his stuff, so I hope you enjoyed those videos. And then also as well came the February book haul like normal. Again, big shout out to Andrew's Wizardly Reads here on YouTube. You can check out his channel. He sold me one of the items that I got in that video. And then aside from all that, Platinum review video on Astro's Playroom came out. So that was the debut episode of that video game review series that I did, and I thought it was a pretty good video. I'm pretty happy with the editing and stuff like that. I could have fleshed out some of the writing and a couple of those other sections like that a little bit, but overall a 15 or 16 minute video discussing a little bit of the stuff of a 5 or 6 hour game, it seems pretty serviceable to me. So that came out as well. Let's get on to the writing content that came out on seasonalproductions.com last month. I just wrote 1 blog. It was called My Shift to Eating Healthier in 2021. That was a kind of meh blog. I definitely could have done a lot better of a job with that. I was mostly just worried about getting something out. So Hopefully in the future that doesn't become a problem, but that came out. Part 2 of The Asylum, called Asylum's Despotism. That was my short story that came out last month as well. And then I did one chapter of the novel Silent Rain. In the last State of Affairs video, I mentioned that I was hoping to get through chapters 7 through 11, I believe. But then it turned out that I didn't actually get chapter 6 written all the way for February release like I had originally planned to in the first place anyway. So I had to end up finishing that in March, and then I just never got time to write anything else for that, or anything for that matter. We'll get into that just a little bit as well later. Work and school has been insane, so I didn't get any writing for that done, unfortunately. It's been such a nightmare, and I really hate that I haven't been able to write, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And then I had one poem come out that was called The Revolution. That is actually the first poem that I've released that has nothing to do with the Rain of Ash sequence so far, but it was still one that I had written and decided to post anyway. So there's that. Next up, what videos are coming out for the next 2 months? Like I said, this video encompasses both April and May because of that work schedule reasons. I'm not going to be able to record anything in April. I just will not be able to. Even when / if I have a night off, I'm not going to have the energy to record or edit videos, so I'm not going to bother doing that. And also, as I mentioned, the release schedule is going to be a little bit different as well. There's less videos coming out each month, but the total amount of videos coming out in April and May is going to be pretty similar overall to the amount of videos that would come out in one normal month. So, 2 episodes of the seasonal podcasts are coming out in April and May. The first one is our top 10 video games of all time, part 2. So that's me and Lane talking about our absolute favorite video game of all time, and that's actually out today. By the time you're watching that video, that episode actually only has, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes before it's actually released, so you can go ahead and check that out. And then we'll have an episode out on May 6th, the first Friday of May, just an Elden Ring discussion where Lane and I talk about that game, because as I may have mentioned it at this point on the channel, but I have no clue. Elden Ring came out relatively recently. Anybody who's a gamer, anybody watching this channel who's a gamer knows that that game exists, and it's huge right now. I'm addicted to it, and Lane is actually gotten into it a little bit, so we talked about that. So I hope you enjoy that episode as well when it comes out next month. For the book binge, 5 episodes are going to come out. Like I said, pretty similar to a normal 1-month period of time for the channel, but the first one is going to be my March reading wrap-up and April plus May TBR video, so one where I wrap up what I read in January, why did I say January? One where I wrap up what I read in March, and where I'll discuss what I hope and plan to read in April and May, although take that video a little bit loosely as you will, because like I said, that work schedule is going to be pretty crazy. Even though I'll be working night shifts and stuff and have plenty of free time at work, hopefully and theoretically, if last year's anything to base this off of, I'm not going to have any certainty of anything on that list, but I'm going to have that video out anyway for those interested in what I'm going to be reading, or at least trying to read. That will be out on April 4th. On April 18th, so the 3rd Monday of April, will be a review on Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. I mentioned this in my very first reading wrap-up in TBR on the first Monday of January, actually, the first episode of the book binge, that I read Endurance in November, December of 2021, and I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I was expecting to. And that's a really brief review. I think it might only be like 7 or 8 minutes or something like that. So it's a really short one. It's not a huge time commitment if you're willing to go watch that. Then on May 2nd, the first Monday of May, I'll have a video on The Shining, a review of that book. Again, in that first episode of the book binge, I talked about The Shining a little bit. That book blew me away, so if you want to hear some of my more specific thoughts, still spoiler free though if you're worried about that, I'll have that video out on May 2nd. Then on May 16th, the 3rd Monday of May, will be a review of Holes by Louis Satcher. If you can even really call it a review, I talk about it a little bit. That video is only like 5 minutes long or something. So it's a really, really short video. It's just really brief. I just needed something to kind of fill out the video list for these couple months, so I just did a really quick short video for a really quick short book. I thought that that was appropriate. So that video will be out on May 16th, and then on May 30th, the 5th Monday of May, that will be the review of The Drawing of the Three by Stephen King. That book actually kind of surprised me in a lot of ways. I did really enjoy it, so I talk a little bit more about most of my thoughts in that review. And then, of course, there will still be a few videos that aren't related to the seasonal podcast or the book binge. The first of those will be my March book haul video that will be out on April 8th. This month, March, was a heavy month for collecting classics. That's a pretty good sneak preview to what's in that video. A lot of classics in that one. My debut episode of Count the Classics will be coming out on April 22nd as well, the fourth Friday of April, I believe, if I'm getting all my dates and stuff correct. The way that I was originally scheduling Critical Analysis and the Platinum Review, my 2 video game review series and stuff like that, they're going to be coming out every 3 months, but that meant that there wasn't going to be any video on the 5th Friday of the month for those months in between. After reading Frankenstein and continuing on reading plenty of classics and doing this whole monthly classic read-along in Mike's Book Reviews Discord, I decided that I wanted to fill out that extra month with having a scripted review of those classic books. Like I said, the series is called Count the Classics, so it's kind of a merge between the book binge and a critical analysis, basically. It's the scripted nature of those video game review series, but book reviews instead. And then finally, the last video that I have planned to come out over the next couple months will be my review of Grime. Grime, a critical analysis. So Grime is an indie-developed Metroidvania Souls-like game, basically, I think is the best way to describe that. Or I discovered it in the middle of 2021 when I bought it, but then I didn't actually play it until December of 2021, and it became, I believe it became my game of the year. If not, it was tied for my game of the year with another game that came out last year. So I decided that I wanted to make a video about it. That will be coming out on the 4th Friday of May, on May 27th. And so this is where we get kind of into the crazy stuff. What writing will be coming out the next 2 months? None. There will be literally no new writing that comes out. There will be no poems, no blogs, no short story, no novel chapters. Nothing will be coming out in April and May, and I really regret to say that. The work schedule, like I said, is going to make that really complicated, and school for the last 2 or 3 weeks has been a living nightmare. Holy cow, I haven't had time to do anything. The fact that I found time to make these videos is insane to me. Just the hour or two to be able to record and edit each of them, I don't know where I find the time. So because of that, I wasn't able to get any of the writing done, well, much of the writing that I wanted to get done in March, which also meant that I wasn't able to get any writing done for this month. And again, due to that work schedule, even though I'm anticipating that I will have plenty of free time to be able to write, I'm not going to make any commitments or any guarantees that anything will come out because I cannot. It would be lying to myself to assume that I will have the time to do that, because I could also not. As that suggests, if I find time to be able to write during the month, that'll be awesome, and I'll just kind of put those on the backlog for future months, but I'm not going to rely on the possibility of having any of that time. Instead, seasonalproductions.com is actually going to be offline for maintenance in April. Some of the time that I get to be able to do anything during the month, if I get free time, is actually going to be revamping the homepage, fixing that up, doing some other technical stuff, as well as probably offering a new element to the site that I'm not going to spoil here because I'm not 100% sure if it'll be able to come to fruition, but we will see. Lane and I are going to be working on that, so I'll be fixing up the website a little bit over April. Don't worry, it'll be back on May 1st, I believe. But yeah, since no writing or anything like that will come out in April or May, it just kind of pans out for me to actually fix up that homepage because I've been needing to for weeks, just haven't had the time to. So yeah, similar to last month, very sorry about the very messed up writing schedule again. I'm a broken record at this point. I really wish I could do more of my writing and more reliably with school, but holy cow, it's just been crazy this month. And I was doing fine in January and February, but March just, everything went out the window as the middle of March, so it sucks because writing is the thing that I least want to delay. Like, if there was anything that I was making that I would choose to delay, the writing would be the last thing that I would choose to delay. But the problem is, all of these videos for April and May and whatnot, I've recorded and edited most of these 2 to 3 months before they're actually coming out. So all of that I had the time to do back when I did it. The writing is more of a real-time thing. I release those things as I'm actually writing them for the most part. I would like to be able to get ahead on some of those a little bit more, and I hope to this month. Like I said, I can't guarantee it, but just the way that I schedule out recording and editing and writing and stuff like that, writing is the only thing that I can reasonably push back, even though I don't want to. But yeah, everything should be back in full force in June. I'm really hoping that that'll be the case. But now that I actually think about it and remember, sometime in June is actually when I'm going to be getting my wisdom teeth removed. So in May, after the overhaul's over and everything like that, after the crazy work stuff is done, I should be able to get a few videos out for June and stuff, but we'll see about June and July now that I think about it, because my family has had a history of having hugely long recovery processes for wisdom teeth, so I hope that doesn't cause an issue, but I'm just going with what happens this year. This has been crazy so far. But yeah, thank you for anybody who checked out this video, and especially anybody who stayed. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to check out any of the other stuff that I have coming out this month. Like I said, I would normally tell you to go check out seasonalproductions.com for a backlog of all the videos and writing content, stuff like that, but that's down for the month. So for now, you can just check out the YouTube channel. There will be an icon somewhere, especially at the end of the video with that end screen, that will be able to take you to my channel. You can check out any of the videos from there. There's over 30 videos available on the channel right now, so you can go check out any of those. But yeah, that will do it for this video. I will be back again on Monday with my reading wrap-up and TBR video, so I hope you guys stick around for that.